Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to next anime review for month of June / anime month, and which I probably said I would like to talk about this as a full review, right? Because sometimes my memory's that bad though. Sometimes I can't remember. Sometimes I can't remember what I say sometimes. So, but basically just finished the series. So you can check out all the episode reviews I reviewed on this, and how much I really did enjoy this series. I think it's one of the very underrated ones that came out so far this year, and that is of My Home Hero. So I'm doing this as a full review now, and I gotta say I really enjoyed this. This series. I definitely give this a thumbs up. I really do. I really enjoyed the characters, especially our main guy, Totsu. And it was just a lot of the clever things that he does, just trying to be one step ahead of everybody, just. But anyway, if anyone who has not seen my episode reviews though, or doesn't know anything about the series, put it simply, I don't need to go full details on this review because I reviewed all the episodes, going all details in each episode. So, but you can check out my episode reviews of this series though. But if you haven't seen it, feel free to check them out. But here's the full review. But in a nutshell, our guy Totsu, he's a salesperson, right? And this guy. Which I like about it, because this guy, he has no military experience. He's just an ordinary guy. He's no John Wick, okay? He's no John Wick or just a guy with a secret military background. None of that stuff. He's just an ordinary, regular guy. And and then when he comes home, finds out that his daughter Rika has severe bruises on her face, asking her what's going on, and that her boyfriend named Nobuto has been physically abusing her constantly. So he goes to her apartment. Totsu goes to her apartment and trying to find out what's going on. Maybe he can talk to him, but first he starts following him, right? See, with other guys, right? But then he gets caught and he gets beaten too, right? And he gets a picture taken. If you go any further, we'll put this online. But see, that doesn't stop him though, because he like I said, he goes to his daughter's apartment and he hides in the closet, and then when the guy comes home, he's on the phone talking, say, hey, this girl is nothing, right? Basically, she's gonna end up like all the other girls that basically in the hospital, basically with eternal bleeding or damaged whatever, right? Damaged organs or just stuff that he has done to other girls from before her. So that gets him really pissed, and then he surprises him. I think he surprised when he punched him in the crotch, I remember, and then ultimately he beats him to death with a rice cooker. When I first saw it, I'm like, damn. He just goes in, and how it transitioned when he was beating him to death with that rice cooker, or how these neon purple magenta colors just change the filter, right? I'm like, that's a cool piece of animation shot right there. And also, yeah, when he beats him to death with that rice cooker. But the thing is, though, what he did not know about that Nobuto is actually a son, one of the sons of the Yakuza organization. If I remember, the Yakuza is the Japanese mob. So, which when he find that out later, right? And the whole time he's thinking, what are you gonna do? He's never killed anyone before, right? Because he did all this to protect his daughter. So, and then that's how it starts turning like a little bit into Breaking Bad, right? How he disposes of the body. And his wife gets involved, Kaizen, which at first was like, oh no, he's like, oh, what have you done, right? But actually, no, she's actually nonchalantly, casually, he's like, okay, here, I'll help you get rid of this, for our daughter, right? So yeah, she though this whole time throughout this whole thing, she's been helping him out because now they know what they're involved with Yakuza now. So he's been trying so hard to get himself out of this hole that he's in, so. And this whole time throughout this whole series, like he's been like trying to be one step ahead of everybody, which I was liking that, right? But first, like it goes like a little bit like Breaking Bad, is dispose of the body in the bathtub, all these chemicals to slowly just break it down, right? Tells other about bones and stuff, hides in a flower pot. And also there's this one guy, which I was feeling sorry for, by the name of Kiyoshi, right? Who also works for the Yakuza, right? Until later on, towards the end of the series, which if you've been watching, he's been trying to like trying to be like by Totsu, trying to if you knew anything, right? He's been trying to stick to him, like, and at times he's been really suspicious of Totsu, what is going on, like how does he know this stuff, or what is he hiding? Is he hiding anything? And there's a part where him and his wife, they get attacked. Well, Tozu gets taken to a warehouse where he's been beaten, and his wife was like at home, and then she gets like plastic saran wrapped around her face. So, and then ultimately, like he said he doesn't know anything. Eventually, they let him go when he gets taken to the hospital. Which he has that plastic bandage, that clear bandage around his head. Which at first it kind of looked a little silly to me because I'm like, okay, you don't want to be suspicious where you just want to wearing just regular bandages around your head. So, but I'm like, that was kind of look a little silly looking though, right? And the more investigation they go, like they try Toast and his wife, they try to create this fake video where they have a friend of theirs from college dress up as him, try to say, oh, Nobuto is still alive, right? But where is he all this time though, right? Until they found out that it was fake because they noticed how the way Nobuto, this guy was walking different when how Nobuto did, right? So they found out that it was fake, and trying to figure out where the source came from. And then one time when Tosu goes to this bar where he meets with Nobuto's father, saying that wherever if anyone happens to him, I'll kill that person who did it and his whole family too. And that's when Totsu got a little threatened right there. There's a part where Totsu goes with Kiyoshi to this part where this on this highway where on a cliff and a tunnel is, right? And they get involved in a shootout. Kiyoshi gets shot though, but he's still alive, and using like a staple, like what Dredd did. Carl ever did as Dredd, where he stapled himself up from his wound, and which that was a little tense right there because Tosu's never been in that kind of fight though. And after driving off the cliff and still alive, battered, but and then and the whole thing we're dealing with the remains of Nobuto's remains, right? And the whole laptop with the tablet with the emails, like how they have no choice but they were gonna frame Kiyoshi for the crime, right? And the one part where Kaisen, his wife, was gonna go to Kiyoshi's mother's place, right? She was gonna plant the stuff there, but until when Kiyoshi's mom revealed how, Kiyoshi, he was a good kid though, but the family had a diner, but until when the Yakuza came and just took everything away, right? And his dad suicide himself. And so Kiyoshi's been working really hard, with them to make money, tried to buy that place back, right? And so that his mom could have an easier life again. And so Kaisen felt guilty, so she was not gonna do that to his mom, so she took the stuff and left, right? But the thing is, though, they ultimately planted the stuff at Kiyoshi's place in his apartment, in this safe where he had kept his money, right? His hard-earned money he made for himself. And the whole elaborate plan where how Kiyoshi just took all these steps, to make sure he's ahead of everybody, and with his wife, his wife's help, right? How, get into that where she got into his apartment and get the safe, right, and trying to decipher the numbers, right, for the combination, and then put the stuff in there, and And even when the was getting suspicious, right? Suspecting that Kyoshi may be the person, and when they go into his place, they open the safe and like, how could that? And Kyoshi's like, how can that be? You know, there was nothing in that safe. I didn't put all that stuff there. There was nothing in there. And when Totsu's like, oh hey, don't look at me, you know, I didn't look at your safe because you told me not to look, right? So, which I felt bad. I felt bad for Kyoshi. And even the report he was going to try to meet with their daughter Rika, like she was kind of getting a little bit suspicious how my dad's been acting strange too, right? but ultimately she isn't. She basically doesn't know anything that was going on the whole time, though. Yeah, she was suspecting that her dad was acting strange as of late, though. But still, she basically didn't know anything that was going on this whole entire time. And just like I just felt bad for Kyoshi. I mean, he was noticing like these little scrapes on this wall that separates from his place to another apartment, right? And like how they used him to climb over to get into his place, and all these details. And ultimately, despite his wound opening up again, he's bleeding out. Though he ultimately does escape, right? He gets a change of clothes, and no one recognizes him, but he's still bleeding out though. But ultimately, he calls up the boss Midori, right, Nobuto's father, saying, "Hey, the one who did it was Totsu, and it wasn't me, but I'll explain what all his little schemes were." And Kyoshi, he escapes, never to be seen again though. But at least he's still alive though, because like I said, I felt bad for the guy and knew how much Totsu he didn't want to frame him though, because you know, but he had no choice to though. Man, so I felt bad for him though, but and then ultimately when we get to the part where Kyoshi, Totsu he was going to rest in his daughter's apartment just to relax for a bit, right? And then when Midori comes in, you know, with a black light, seeing any other evidence, like he finds the blood like with a black light right on the floor, right? And so then he ultimately gets into a not a wall-to-wall, full-on combat hand-to-hand action fight with the Totsu though, but it was kind of like an awkward fight though. I mean, these guys they have no combat skills whatsoever. I'm like, Midori's gonna pull out mace and pepper spray him. He does, and then just like they're just fighting just so awkwardly. Like even Midori gets maced by his own because it was up in the air and it sprayed. The mist got into his eyes, and he hits him over the head with a jar of marbles, and it's been creating such a ruckus from the apartment down below. They end up calling the police, and ultimately when Midori tried to strangle Totsu and say, "Hey, it's okay. Even if you died, nothing will change. The world is better off without you. Would no one even know about it, right? Just ease up and let go, right? No one will ever know that you're gone. The whole world doesn't even care, basically." But ultimately, he gets out of that, and Midori stabs himself. You know, trying to make it seem like that Totsu did it. And when the police come, they're knocking on the doors like, "Hey, can you please keep it down?" You know, and Totsu, he's holding him he's choking, he's holding him, you know, trying to prevent him from not making a sound, but the guy is ultimately bleeding out though, and ultimately the guy dies. And the blood was almost gonna seep out the door where the cops were gonna see it though, but ultimately they leave when it was basically almost at the door. So basically the second guy he did kill though, but but it was basically by default because he was already bleeding out as it is from the knife wound. And so he takes his body out to some far out in the woods and buries him. And you get that when it starts raining, you have that shot that's on the front cover of the first novel of the first manga, right? Where he's like this, and it starts raining, and then ultimately where everything's fine. His life has returned back to normal. You know, his daughter is now back in college, like with her friends, and everything seems to be totally normal for him and his wife. And they got out of it after all the hard work they did to try to get themselves out of this involvement with the Yakuza, right? on the news, which kind of left a little cliffhanger because on the news there's this big typhoon sweeping across Japan, and it's causing a lot of mudslides and stuff like that, right? And it goes back to that spot where Totsu buried Matori, and it shows like how it's starting to like hit the burial where he was, the spot where he was buried. It starts beginning to unravel because the rain, wind, and the mud starts to loose, right? But Totsu's like, you know what? He's thinking like, you know what? Everything's gonna be I'm gonna be just fine. Because it's like, what are the odds that they're gonna go out there and find the body, right? Out there. So it's like, you know what? Everything's gonna be just fine. And that's how it ends. I'm like, so yeah, so like My Home Hero, I've really enjoyed this series. It's definitely one of my favorites of this year in 2023. And I think that a lot of people were not watching this one, sadly, though. I mean, I know there's people that probably like the show too, though, but it was like a lot of people tend to like ignore this, you know, ignoring this, or they just put this under the radar, you know. I'm like, if that's true, but I don't get it, though. I thought this was a really good show. I mean, at some parts I was like on the edge of my seat, like, what's gonna happen next, you know? Is Totsu gonna get it, or is this him and his wife are gonna get out of this, right? It was really good. I was like a little bit in suspense of what was happening, you know. Yeah, so I think this is an underrated. I think that if not, I would say this is the most underrated one of this year. I would say. I really enjoyed my home hero. I really enjoyed the character, especially the husband and wife duo of Totsu and Keizen. How they how they work together. Like I said, no experience whatsoever, no idea how to deal with these mob people, right? The Yakuza. They just do what they can, just trying to be one step ahead of them, you know. Yeah, I felt bad with how they had to frame Kiyoshi for it, though, but sadly they took his hard-earned money as well, you know. All that hard work he did, and he had one little a little secret stash, though, but he used that as a diversion. He throws it out the window so people can hurry up and grab it, so he can get away, though, you know. But ultimately, though, he did escape. He did basically escape with his life, though, despite him bleeding out still. But yeah, I just felt bad for him then. But I really enjoy the character. I really enjoy our main duo, just of Keizen and Totsu. Just how they pulled together to really get out of being out of the Yakuza. And the whole time, their daughter Rika, yeah, she was getting a little at how suspicious, like how her dad's been acting strange lately, though. But ultimately, she did not know what was going on the whole entire time, you know. But the whole thing would just it was really great. I mean, our guy was he was just an ordinary guy. I mean, after all this, he returned back to work like normal. I mean, he was just an ordinary salesperson, you know. Like I said, he has no military background. The guy has no secret. He's not secret John Wick, you know. He's just a regular, ordinary guy, you know. And just like how lacking his combat skills is when he tried fight against Nobuto and later against his father Matori, right? I mean, he beat his son with a rice cooker for crying out loud. And then just try to be like Walter White from Breaking Bad, how to dispose of a body, right? And it's all stuff he learned from reading mystery novels and stuff like that, right? He learned most of the stuff from reading those type of books. And at first, you know, thinking his wife would think it was gonna towel on him, but ultimately, she goes and helps him because just to help protect their daughter, right? But yeah, I really enjoyed My Home Hero. It was a really great series. I really enjoyed it. I would gladly pick this up on Blu-ray if it comes out. I'll gladly pick this up. But I would say it was a very underrated series. I don't know why some people tend to basically slept on this show. I don't know if that's the right term, though. They slept on this show. But ultimately, I really enjoyed it. I'm sure there's people that like this series as well. So, but I do find this one a little bit just very underrated, I would say. Enjoy the characters, enjoy the show. Yeah, sometimes the animation wasn't. In certain aspects, the animation was subpar, though. But you know what? I'm willing to let that go because not all of the animation was So a lot of the animation was decent though, but some was like, eh. But I I was more leaning it because I really enjoy the characters and the story, and that's basically what makes the difference, right? If you don't like the characters, either the story, then it's not good, not a good series though, right? But yeah, I really enjoyed the series. So if anyone's seen My Home Hero, I really advise you to check this out. And feel free to check out my episode reviews I did on the show. Feel free to check that out too. But My Home Hero, I really enjoyed the series. It was really great, and well, I would say it's a very underrated series as well. But thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more, and for more for Come for Anime Month, and we'll see you next time. Later.